Yo, 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 what is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today I wanted to do a topical discussion that I think is really important. This is something that I've heard this in other Kingdom Builders as well. However, this was something that I had read on the official COD Discord where players were having a discussion essentially about where is the importance on how you value starting right when a new kingdom opens, or if you're not able to get in right when it opens, do you just forego joining that new kingdom if it's an hour, a couple hours old, if it's a day old, 2 days, right? How old is it? How old does a kingdom have to be before you consider not going there if it is the newest kingdom just because a newer kingdom has yet to open up? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And this is, I'm hoping, going to be a nice, interesting piece of educational information along with, kind of, I don't know if I want to say putting some myths to rest, if you will, but I hope that you will at least enjoy this perspective of mine. Now, before we get started, as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure you sub, like, ring the notification bell. And if you want to join and be a part of our conversation, hit up the Discord. You can find a link to that in the pinned comment description right down below. And remember, new videos are coming out every day at 14 UTC in-game time, which is the time in the top right corner here after I zoom in, and that probably looks a little better. Or outside of the game, it's 9 a.m. Eastern. Okay. Now, let's really get down to this. So when a new kingdom opens up, right, I want to point out, let me preface by saying there's a lot of different POVs on how one can approach the game. And this is pretty dependent on how you're taking advantage of your window opportunity for joining a new kingdom. Now, I'm of the general belief, let me just kind of give you the high arc here, and then we're going to break down each of the individual positions, that for the most part, it doesn't really matter when you join the kingdom, because if you are active enough, and or if your group, or I should say, and or your alliance, and or your group is consistently active, you can for the most part catch up to pretty much anyone. Right now, there's obviously an asterisk here because the assumption is that not everyone in your group is obviously going to spend money, and there's comparisons, right? There are some subjective viewpoints on are there other spenders that are in the kingdom? Are they spending more than you, less than you, depending on the players that are. I'm speaking generally, kind of more from the free to play perspective, right? Like let's just say, someone starts within the first hour of when a kingdom opens. Someone else starts 2 days after that, but the person who starts 2 days after that is averaging 12 hours a day of grind time, or let's just say 8 hours a day of grind time, and the person who started on day one is only able to put in 2 to 3 hours a day, right? That person who's able to put in, 3, 4, 5 times more than them will eventually catch up, and then they'll surpass. It's just a fact. And so that's really kind of the overarching. However, where it really comes into more of views on the individual approaches is, are you joining a new kingdom as an individual, as one person? Are you joining with a couple friends? Are you joining with a full alliance worth of players, right? In this case, that'd be, I'd say, about 40 or 50. Are you joining with a group or project, right? Meaning that you have multiple alliances that you're able to fill at 40 to 50, and you're coming in from that. Right, so there's kind of, I'd say, 4 give or take positions or routes that you can take when you're coming in, and for the most part, I do believe that the universal mindset of it doesn't really matter how long. Now, of course, right? Let's be realistic. If you're going to try and join a server a month after it started, okay, that's a little different, right? But if we're talking, within a couple days, I would argue and say, even if you're starting a week. Right, I think that's probably my threshold, give or take. I'd say about a week, right after a new kingdom has opened, where you can still start and be extremely successful. I say this because I've seen it and I've done it, right? I've ran projects across 2 different kingdom builders now, and I can tell you from someone who sees new players or existing veteran players restarting accounts on a regular basis, this is very doable. And it can and has been done. And so that's why I don't put too much stock in the idea that, oh, well, hey, they're not going to be able to catch up because it's the kingdom's a couple days old already. But it does depend on who you're going in with, right? Like someone who's going in with an alliance worth of players or a group of players, right? Even if it's half an alliance, you might view it differently because you're going to get active. You're going to get more helps often, right? If you're going in with multiple players or a full alliance, you're going to be able to have more general participation when it comes to AVA, Alliance versus Alliance events, and other types of participation on the PvE side. So you're going to get more out of it, right? Maybe even on the PvP side as well. You'll get more out of it where you'll progress generally faster than an individual who's just hoping, right? Or a couple players who are hoping they're going to be able to join an alliance or join a group that is consistently active, right? Because you're really just kind of playing the odds at that point where you're hoping that you'll be able to kind of climb the ladder and maybe get into an alliance, an active alliance, or just get lucky and get into one generally, even if you're not climbing because maybe it's the first one you join. So there's a little less margin of error if you're joining and going in with a full alliance or I would say a lot of players, right? If you're going in with 20, 30 plus players where you know you're going to get those constant helps, right? And maybe some people might spend where you know you're going to get some chests. Those things will help you, right, recover, or I don't know if I want to say recover your progression, right? But they'll help you progress at a faster rate than someone who starts within the first hour, the first 10 minutes of a kingdom, but maybe is not consistently putting in as much grind time as you are on a daily basis, and or your group of players, right, or even projects worth of alliance of players on a daily basis. So that's just why you kind of have to look at it from what perspective are you going in with? Are you the individual? Are you just a couple players? Are you a full alliance? Are you a group of alliances? Those things I do think matter a bit, but it still comes right back to my overarching, thought process is that you, as long as you're active and you grind, you can really catch up. Doesn't matter if you're a couple days behind. Like I said, my threshold I feel respectively is probably a week plus or minus. So, if you're starting beyond that, I would say it's really up to you. Now, it doesn't mean you can't still catch up, right? I mean, yeah, I've seen some people that have started in a kingdom, longer than a week. It's not too often. Let me state that, right? I mean, you really have to have this mental fortitude to just persistently grind and know that you're eventually going to catch up to players and pass them, right? And it can be done. But just for the average player, a week is essentially my threshold that I recommend. Now, I'm going to pass the question off to you guys. I would love to hear from you, right? Have you ever started in a kingdom, right, that is at least one day old, if not older, right? And kudos to the stories we hear from people that has started in the kingdom multiple days beyond. I want to hear that. And then how long did it take for you to catch up to the pack of players that were close to what your player type was, right? Free to play, light spend, mid spend, high spend. How long did it take for you to catch up? Right, with emphasis on that you at least grinded, or maybe you were more active than they were. I'm really curious. Let me know in the comments down below. Would love to hear anyone else's general thoughts on this, right? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Why not? Right, let me know down there. That's going to be it for me. I got to get some recordings here for level 2 passes, so hopefully we'll be able to get some of those shortly. So I'll try to grind this one out. So yeah, that's it. As always, man, until next time, I will catch y'all later.